Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthmacore Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
You have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Welcome to the Weedsman Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. Physics.
February.
Physics Club.
What?
Excuse me, what are you saying? Physics Club?
Huh? It's a joke I don't get.
It's from The Breakfast Club.
Oh, I guess I haven't seen it in a while.
When,
Oh, wait, is that...
he's listed,
was that
when
Emilio
Bender...
Estevez?
No, Bender is going off about like, oh, little Brian here who belongs to the math club and he's like...
Oh, yeah, and Anthony Michael Hall corrects
He's like,
him.
yeah, it's Physics Club. I belong to the Physics Club. What the fuck?
What the fuck is Physics Club?
Couldn't make the elephant. It wouldn't turn on. Yeah. You're saying it's cold outside?
I'm saying it's February.
It's February, yes. We had a nice little, a few days of like pushing 40 degrees.
Yeah, and in Michigan,
and,
nice in January and February. Yeah, it means we almost saw 40.
Yep. And, a lot of the snow melted into one big sheet of ice on the sidewalk.
Yeah, especially in front of my place.
Yeah.
It's super great. I
About
love
an
how when
inch
they
thick.
replaced the side, like when you, like, you know, my knowledge of the trades is only what I've picked up in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I know enough to know.
Yeah.
When you do concrete,
Sure.
we're going for smooth and level.
I mean, that
They
seems
just
to
went
be.
for smooth in front of my place.
Yeah.
Because whenever, well, you can see it's frozen. Like whenever it rains, it's just a puddle.
Yeah.
Whenever it snows, it's just
You
anything.
can't control nature, though. man.
Everything
Like,
that
that's
melted just can right in front of my place. The puddle just sits there and then freezes.
Yeah.
I threw a whole bag of salt in there a week ago. You wouldn't
Yeah.
fucking know.
The squirrels are using it for seasoning.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, you can pour a nice, completely flat and perfectly level on the bubble slab of concrete, but it still has to be on a patch of dirt. Right?
Yeah, correct. And yeah, the thing about concrete is it's, newsflash, it's always going to crack because the earth moves.
Yeah.
And concrete shifts. But no, the thing is, the patch of dirt, I have watched people do it. The patch of dirt is supposed to be level. The patch
Sure.
of dirt
Yeah,
takes care of
tamp-
level.
You tamp it down. You level out the
and then
dirt.
after you pour the
tamp it down.
concrete, you take care of smooth.
And then trees and everything else that's underground.
This is a
tree
year old.
roots.
They did this last
They
summer.
did it last summer.
Yes. That's why I'm bitching. They did this last year.
So you watched it move.
Yes. I watched them do it wrong. Yeah, no, this isn't like this is a 20-year-old piece of concrete and the earth is shifting. No.
Yeah.
This was, they busted it up and redid it last year.
Well, we're going to be getting a lot more ice and snow coming up. Winter's not over yet.
Yeah, because that goddamn rodent saw a shadow, right?
Yeah.
Like, I still don't get
right.
that. I feel we do this every year. Like, if he sees a shadow, doesn't that mean the sun is out?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
then that's 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't see a shadow, then we get early spring. That means the sun is gone. I don't understand that. You would feel the appearance of the sun means, hey, cool, spring's coming.
Yeah. He just doesn't trust it, I guess.
Right? See, what's that other going back? Oh, is that what it's supposed to be? It scares him back in? Oh, hey, my shadow, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm going back in here for 6 more weeks.
I think, yeah, he sees his shadow, right?
And it scares him.
Well, look.
Also, I believe you read the article.
I haven't
every
done the
year.
research, but this is all based in science.
Although, yeah, his average is terrible. I believe there is a groundhog here in Michigan that nationally gets mentioned every year that is much more accurate. I think her name is Susie. I can't tell you what fucking hick Michigan town she's in, but I believe she is the most accurate groundhog.
Which is what I'm always looking for in my groundhogs. Accuracy.
Yes. In my weather forecasting rodents, I'm looking for accuracy.
Yeah. You know, I've seen them around. We had groundhogs in Livonia, and then there was a shipping container that was in the backyard for some reason that was used for storage, and there was groundhogs that lived underneath it, and I'd see them scurry under there all the time, and I'd evaluate them.
You look for shadows.
Nice big, nice brown coat, good fat storage, has good speed, check the teeth. But if they're not accurate, then they gotta go. You
I
know,
was wondering where you were
If
going with this.
If you can't predict the weather, then
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm breaking out the garden weasel and we're clearing house. Busting skulls. I don't need no freeloaders. I need somebody that when they do pop out of their burrow,
By the way,
are going to tell me what fucking time it is.
not trying to stray into the political here.
Yes.
But I feel there was an extra added Bill Murray-ish element to this Groundhog Day
How so?
of the media freaking out about something Trump did that didn't matter 2 days later.
Tariffs?
Yes. I was like, are we doing this? Okay, we did
Yeah.
this fucking 8 years ago.
Yeah.
He's gonna do something crazy. 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be batted down. Or like, I thought the whole time, like, it's a negotiating tactic.
It's a negotiating tactic,
Yeah.
right? No, you're absolutely right. Look, we know I didn't vote for the guy, but I gotta call it like I see it, right? And he threatened Canada with tariffs, and what did they do? They came to the table and wanted to talk about fentanyl coming into the country and whatever.
Actually, first, only after Trudeau went, oh yeah, but we're gonna do it too. But
Sure.
then, after
Yeah.
Mexico went,
Yes.
well, hey, let's talk.
Right.
Canada went, well, maybe we'll talk too.
Yes. Yeah, because Canada and Mexico, I'm sure, trade a lot. And where does that trade go through?
Exactly.
2 borders on the U.S.
Okay, wait. Are we all, by the way, am I the only one that's president of Mexico?
Yeah.
Claudia
You're not.
Sheinbaum?
Oh, yes. How did they get a Jew
Like
in there?
that sounds like Woody Allen's mother-in-law or some shit. No, wait, she's not Asian. I mean, his actual mother. Like his mom, it's like Woody Allen's mom's maiden name. Like there's like a Jewish chick running Mexico and everyone's like, yeah, that's...
Yeah. Call it Trudeau. What are you tariffing the U.S. for? Leave him alone.
But I'm saying like, right, Trudeau, right?
Be
like,
a nice boy. Don't
Can-
send him the fentanyl.
Canada's got like a French contingent. You're like, all
Yeah,
right, you know,
yeah.
but like,
Trudeau. Yeah, that makes sense.
can Mexican Jews
Run that
give
name.
me a list. Go.
0. I'm coming up
Yeah.
0. What was the name again?
Claudia Sheinbaum.
Scheinbaum.
That's what I'm saying.
AU?
Yes. I can't be the only one who's noticed this and been
Names
like,
get around.
President of Mexico?
Names get around. I don't know. I was gonna say maybe she converted, but it's not a race.
Only thing I'm
It's a
thinking is
religion.
like a husband's name, right? Mexicans are still
Right.
very traditional people. A lot of Catholics, you know, not a lot of women's libbers, let's say down there.
Where would the Scheinbaums come from, though? Like, where was that? What would that name originate from? New
York.
Well, yeah, but before then, like, where does
I mean, that's a Jewish name, right?
Sure. I mean,
It's real?
It's Jewish, but like the Jews were from all over. So it doesn't sound Polish. It doesn't sound Israeli. It doesn't sound, I don't know.
But I mean, I get it, you know, 2 sets of brown people, generally, you know, history's punching bags, you know, they found each other.
You're saying society forced them into a relationship by limiting their options?
Oh, maybe some dude from New York who was at a fucking resort and met this Claudia chick. We don't know.
Well, I hope DEI works out for Mexico.
Right. Hey, we need a Jewish chick.
I'm not going to try and get mad at Trump. I'm not going to go out of my way to be mad at him because it is what it is. But I didn't vote for Trump and nobody voted for Elon. That's what really bothers me about this administration.
I get it, but at the same time, I mean, it's just one of the donors pulling the strings that we can see. Whereas like,
It's a fair point. At least it's being done in the open.
yeah,
Right.
like you don't think there was, with anybody, any administration, you don't think there's a couple people with the big pocketbooks behind the
Yeah.
scenes going, hey,
No,
man,
absolutely.
what, isn't the blue boogeyman George Soros?
Yeah. I mean, at least Trump, invited him to the inauguration and, gave him a platform.
Well, hey, wasn't there a thing today? Didn't he like brush him back?
I don't know.
Like something with Doge, like the Democrats were threatening some kind of revolt, and Trump was
You're
like,
saying
hey man, chill.
Trump. Okay. Yeah. I wonder if they have that kind of relationship. You gotta figure that this has gotta be brief, right? There's an expiration date on this relationship. Trump and Elon are just, the question of who's actually running things is going to be asked, and just that the question is asked is going to bother Trump. It won't bother Elon any because Elon knows who's actually running things.
If
Trump will be bothered by it, and he will express it, and neither of these are two people with no filter, right? So how long can they stay in this relationship?
I mean, I say, like, there's, I got a couple of Illuminati friends, and I'm like, really? You? In this conversation has come up, I said,
wait, members or believers?
Believer.
Okay.
And I said, if this existed, think about who it actually would be. And Musk would be, like, I said, think about who moves money around on the globe.
Do they believe in the deep state?
Who would it really be? It would be like Elon. It would be like Bill Gates. It would be Bezos. It would be
It's the tech bros,
some
yeah.
oil person you've never heard of, some bank guy you've never heard of.
I'm curious, do you think that this is the age of the tech bros, or is this the end of the beginning of the end of the tech bros? Because once they actually are perceived to be in power, I think
Age of the tech bros. You think tech's going somewhere?
I don't think tech's going
Yeah.
anywhere, but being involved in government is what I mean.
As long as there's money to be had, they'll be involved.
Yeah. I think it'll be more of the case of they'll go back to the way things were and just have it be dark money and suggestions rather than be on the stage and, actually trying to run things.
Oh, I can agree with that 100%.
Because I think what Elon, well, I don't know,
Because I think what you're saying is right, but I think at some point, Trump has a big enough ego to be like, hey, motherfucker, I was elected, not you.
yeah.
Calm the fuck down.
Yeah. Well, remember what happened with him and Bannon. And
Well, Bannon has since proved to be nuts.
right, but he was thought to be the mastermind of Trump's campaign, and probably accurately so. And the assumption would be that he would be running things in the White House as well, which he tried to and acted as if, and then was eventually kicked out because he got too big for his britches. Mm-hmm. And how does it not happen the same way with Elon? How do you avoid that with Elon? Other than the fact that
They
Elon,
gave him his own department.
yeah, they did that for Bannon too.
Yeah, but Steve Bannon wasn't the richest man in the world. There is that factor.
And also Elon is coming into a job where the default starting point is half of the voting population is going to hate you, and you're going to work your way, and half automatically hates you, and the other half is going to want to see you prove yourself. And so, I don't know, do they actually track approval ratings for Elon Musk like they do other people in the White House?
I would ask you, given the man's history, do you think he gives a fuck?
Yeah. I think that's the only thing that saves him as far as spiraling out, is the fact that he might not just give a fuck that he is at 10% approval rating.
He's the richest. He has the ultimate fuck me money. He is the richest person in the world. He has enough money for his reaction to be everything can be like, whatever, fuck off. I just sold 100,000 more Teslas. Eat shit.
I know one of his big initiatives is regulation is bad, period. Get rid of all of it. And then as we find need for regulation, we'll make them up. I don't think he understands how
I feel that's 150 years ago. I feel there's
kind of a lot of proven regulation that in order to reprove it, we would have to let people die unnecessarily, right? We take the guardrails off the machinery and we let people get ground up, and then we go, maybe we should put some guardrails up over this machinery so people don't get ground up.
I think
because it's costing us a lot of money.
Yeah, I think somewhere between fuck it, no regulations, and the state of California, the answer lies.
Right. And I guess by Elon's method, you would get there eventually. But do we want it to take 150 years to get back to that point, that midpoint that we should be at?
I think when it comes to plausible, rational, common sense safety regulations, it is needed.
Yeah.
But when you get into this esoteric shit of we need this regulation for this 1 in a million thing.
Yeah.
But I will also tell you from my dealings in the business world from the last few years, if there is a regulation for it, it's because it happened. I always joked with people. Yeah. There is a fucking label on the hairdryer that says don't use it in the tub because somebody fucking used it in the tub.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And they, And we put the label on it, and they still used it in the tub, so we put a GFI on the outlet.
Right.
And now you're like, fine, use it in the tub, it'll just stop working.
Idiots.
I mean, I don't know. Like, so we've got regulations on cannabis, right? There's a lot of regulations on cannabis, and none of them, at least here in Michigan, we know that California has problems with regulations across the board, and cannabis is affected just like any other business. It's overregulated, and it allows the black market to thrive in Canada. But here in Michigan, it's regulated, but it's not taxed to the point where the black market thrives. So now I can't find black market weed. I don't know who to call that's growing their own
I would
shit.
not. I
wouldn't know where to fucking start, and there'd be no reason for
I'll
it.
call the one guy I knew like 10 years ago. Be like, hey man, you still?
Yeah, are you still?
Yeah. No, that's the thing. Because in Michigan, like I let my medical card lapse.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, it's not saving me money anymore.
Yep.
Because too, the market prices came down to what I was paying with medical. It's like, well, I was already paying. Like it's even with the extra money on it, it's still the same amount of money I was spending.
And the medical didn't fluctuate as much because there were so many more regulations on the fact that it was medicinal.
Yeah.
So yeah, you didn't see the same plunge in pricing that you saw in the recreational market, where you saw vapes go from $40 to $30 to $25 to $15 now. Literally.
Yeah.
The same vape. Actually, a stronger vape cartridge, a gram that I can get for $15 to $20, I was happily paying $40 to $45 for that same thing.
I think it was somewhere in the last year, Michigan is thinking of just killing the medical program. Because they've seen enrollment just take a nosedive.
They recently in Michigan recalled 16,000 THC vaping cartridges. And I did have a picture up on here. Platinum vape. You've probably bought a platinum vape product before.
Not recently.
Not recently, yes. I have before. Not in a long time. I found, and they were your very traditional 510 thread little bullet.
Yep.
Nothing custom about it. Screw it into any battery and fire it up. And I stopped buying them because it seemed like every third one would get so gummed up that I couldn't finish the cartridge. About halfway through, all that extra wax buildup would just gunk up
For me, it was that, and I think too, I just started burning. They used to burn nice and slow, and I think they changed the fluid, and I started just flying through them.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm just a huge fucking stoner.
They thinned it. They were watering it down a little bit. Were they burning out, like tasting bad?
No, I mean, it was just going through like a gram in like 3 days.
Yeah.
Before I was going through in like a week.
This company based out of Warren, RWB, subsidiary of Red, White, and Bloom, under the Platinum Vape brand name, tested positive for medium chain triglyceride, known as MCT oil.
Well, yeah, that's
right.
It makes you not hungry.
MCT oil, commonly derived from coconut or palm oil, is primarily used in oral supplements and food products. That's how I know MTC is MCT.
Put in your coffee.
Right. Dr. Drew would talk about putting it in his
Bulletproof
coffee all the time. So it seems like it's safe to consume.
So you can't smoke it?
I guess you can't vape it. I don't know if it... let's see. However, when aerosolized and inhaled, MCT oil may pose dangers to respiratory health.
See, that's what...
MCT oil was already banned for use in Michigan marijuana products. Since it's not approved by the FDA for inhalation, safety testing labs weren't previously looking for it. So they were sliding in something that they weren't even testing for. Figuring, MCT oil is, it's a food additive, so it's safe. And they're not testing for it, so maybe that's what they were watering it down. Maybe actually that was the difference in the cartridges, was that added oil.
I mean, we're talking years. Like, pre-COVID's probably the last time I had a platinum vape.
Well, who knows how long they were doing this for? They've been around for a while. Mm-hmm. Concerns over MCT oil stem from a massive lung illness outbreak in 2019 caused by the use of vitamin E acetate.
No.
which
See,
manufacturers thought to be harmless.
I call bullshit on that. Remember, we think that was COVID. Because that was the
vitamin
mystery.
E?
Yeah. Because remember too, because it wasn't just in pot, it was in fucking, because remember they were trying to ban regular vapes too. Remember in Michigan, like fruit flavored vapes were banned for like 2 weeks and shit. That was the vape.
Is this popcorn lung shit?
No. Remember it was the mystery vape illness, and it was like right before COVID showed up.
This was
Yeah.
This was the black market products that had it in there. The vitamin E acetate.
But if you look back on those stories, all this, you read everybody talked about how they died. That's COVID. They talked about how they felt like they were drowning and all that shit, and doctors didn't know what it was and they couldn't figure it out.
Well, according to this MLive article, it says, proven sometimes deadly and banned after being linked to nearly 2,800 hospitalizations and 68 deaths nationwide, including 3 in Michigan.
But how was that?
I'm not saying
happening?
that proves anything. No, I'm not trying to negate your point with that. I'm just saying that's the statistics.
No, I understand,
they put in there.
but I guess I'm not asking a question to you. I'm asking to the article. Then how was it not happening before then? If this was going on for years, how all of a sudden COVID got here early. We didn't know. A bunch of people fucking got it.
It's very possible. Yeah, because
how come all of a sudden
they don't give a date outside of 2019, so
Yeah.
it could have been late 2019.
No, it was. Remember, it was in the fall of 2019. I mean, it was in like September and October that shit started happening. Mm-hmm. And then when did COVID show up in the United States? Wasn't it late January? Or the first actual?
Well, I used to just grab whatever cart was the cheapest.
Yes, same.
But this was also, again, when carts were still at a premium price. And it was still a good deal because you were essentially getting, the same, if you'd pay like $45 for an eighth of good weed, and this concentrate was equivalent to an eighth of weed in a little easy to conceal and consume device, then it makes sense that, I'd still pay $40 to $45 for that same product.
Yeah.
You're just repackaging it in a more convenient form for me. Mm-hmm. I might even pay a little bit more for it.
Yeah.
But now I started using Stizzy, and not only because it was a proprietary cartridge that you needed a certain battery for. Mm-hmm. So that right there is like, I've got $40 in the battery. I'm not just going to buy any old vape. I'm going to use the one that goes with my battery. But also I noticed that the consistency of the product was like spot on. Mm-hmm. Never had a problem with it getting all gummed up, burning out, not working at all. I had a platinum vapes with a 510 thread where they just forgot to drill the air hole. So you thread it all the way in and it's closed up and you couldn't suck through it.
It's really on the cart manufacturer.
Yes, it's the manufacturer. But I've never had a problem with these. These are much.
See, I like these Muammeds, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and you went a different route where you just like get all self-contained, battery and all. When I'm done, I chuck it.
Yeah.
And it works until it's done.
Yeah, this is like $25.
Yeah.
And it's 2 grams.
Yeah. No, it's a steal.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's still using these 510 cartridges and getting, because I mean they're dirt cheap now.
Kids.
Yeah.
My nephew.
Yeah.
Because him and his buddies, they're all broke, so they'll all go in on the because now with the 510s, they'll be like, hey, get 10 for $100.
Yeah.
So they'll him and his buddies will all
pull their funds.
Yeah, they'll pull their funds and do that shit.
Makes sense. I mean, that's what you did back in the day.
Yeah.
Everybody's
just did it with beer.
Everybody's got $15.
Oh yeah, we all threw it on a big bag.
Yeah.
And smoked all the same night.
Yep. Well, you got it, because what are you going to do? Divvy up what's left?
Maybe. I mean, my friends would have. Did you see the story? I didn't click on it.
What's that?
We talked about dude got high, thought he could stop bullets, and obviously got shot.
How did he test it?
I was going to send it into our
I did not
chat,
see it.
but I was like, this can't be. It was real. Dude got like so high, thought he could stop bullets. Had his friend shoot at him, and yeah,
Like, stop bullets, like
he's fucking Neo and shit.
Okay, I was gonna say, stop bullets like Superman or stop bullets like Neo? Like, stop, like bullet time, I'm so fast I can dodge bullets,
Well, that's why I
or
didn't click,
Superman,
or like,
I
yeah,
just stand there and let him bounce off of me. Did he have a vest? There's
I didn't read it.
Too many questions.
But it was from like a local TV station, so I know it wasn't like bullshit.
Yeah.
It wasn't around here. It was from somewhere around the country. But yeah, it wasn't from like, Bill's blog or some shit. It was an actual like
But do you think
covered
he
news
had
story.
a friend shoot him?
Yeah, I had a friend shoot a fucking bullet at him.
He didn't shoot himself?
No.
Okay. I don't know why, that's not better or worse, but actually it's worse. He just got an accomplice now. And a lot more questions. No, he asked me to shoot him.
Yeah.
Because he said he was bulletproof. Yeah, I was high enough to believe him. So it's not just that the
This
guy.
is good shit. I'm high enough to believe him. He was high enough to come up with it.
Yes, he was high enough to believe it of himself, but also not quite so high that he couldn't convince his other very high friend that he was telling him.
And hey, he's able to operate a firearm. Good for him.
Yeah. His aim was solid. He could have been so high that innocent bystanders were getting clipped. Oh, shit. Sorry, that dude's not bulletproof. Wait. No, let me try again because I didn't hit you. Hold still. No, just be one of you. There's two of you.
Hey, let me hit that again.
Oh. Let me hit the bong and close one eye. Okay, there we go. Well, I guess that's it for Neil Gaiman, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody's favorite dark and brooding author.
Anymore.
Who's like his own commercial empire.
Well, has he been convicted of anything yet? Or does it not look good? Is this like Bill Cosby where it's like, it doesn't look good?
It doesn't look good. Yeah. And there's a lawsuit filed now from a person who was in the employ at the house of Gaiman, who claims that she was basically pimped out by Amanda Palmer, Gaiman's wife.
Oh, he went Epstein?
That, he had an affair with her at the behest of his wife. Like his wife procured this woman for him.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he went all Epstein where he had a chick getting him other chicks.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for playing. Hope you invested well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess power corrupts ultimately, huh? There's no way around it.
Or if you're a shitty person, it just amplifies your shitty qualities.
That may be true. Yeah, that may be true. It's just all these stories are after he gets a TV deal, after he writes Stardust, after he, starts getting all these, options on stuff, on his books and comics. When he's just writing the Sandman and getting paid scale for it and appreciated, but not world famous. Yeah, he just, these things don't happen. He was just a run of the mill creep, I guess.
Just a regular creep with no money.
Yeah, well, regular creep flying under the radar.
What did Garrigo say? He's an empty bag, or was an empty bag.
Yeah. So we waited. Now I'm just mad that it took so long. Because we waited so long for there to be an adaptation of the Sandman. His most well-known work, the most popular DC comic to come out of the, I was going to call it Vertigo line, and a classic. I mean, it holds up. Hate Neil Gaiman or do whatever you want, but if you like comics and you like them weird, read The Sandman, because it's a great fucking
I still
comic.
listen to Rock and Roll Part 2. I mean, it's still good.
But
Still good drum
it took so long.
Listen to Michael Jackson today.
I mean, since before the series wrapped at issue 75, there were talks of adapting it into a movie. And, eventually, this whole TV renaissance that we experienced happened. And then it was like, oh, this doesn't have to be a movie. Actually makes more sense to make it into a TV show because the stories are all serialized in that fashion anyway. And everything's kind of grouped into seasons where, you have a 6-issue story arc that happens with certain characters. And then the next story arc is completely different. Different characters, different locale.
Sounds like seasons to me.
Yeah. So it's almost, not even just like seasons. It's, what do you call it when you do like a White Lotus type of show and it's a different cast each season? There's a word for
series?
it. No, like Fargo. It's a continuing series. The different. There's this very specific word that's not coming up in my vocab at the moment. But it was all meant to happen, right?
Terrible person to ask about TV nowadays.
Yeah. So TV has been doing the weirder shit for a while now.
I used to love TV so much.
And
I don't know what happened.
And movies are playing it safe now. And so TV seems to be the natural place where this show can be developed now. And Alan Heinberg, the showrunner and the person who developed it for Netflix, is fantastic. He's a great writer and has been involved in a lot of shows. But I can't believe him when he announces this week, just the week after the Variety article, a couple days after the announcement of the lawsuit from the former housekeeper of Neil Gaiman, he now says, we're ending The Sandman with season 2 because we always planned it to end at season 2. That's as much story as we had plotted out. And that was the natural conclusion.
Like a liar.
to the series. And you're like, okay, so season 1 is basically the first 6 issues of The Sandman. Right? Issues 1 through 6 of a 75 issue series. You see where I'm going with this? Yes. You didn't have to plot out shit. It's all there. If you just followed the series, you would have 10 seasons of a television show easily.
Believe you. You have jammed issues 7 through 75 into season 2.
Yeah. Boy, it's going to go by fast. Nobody blink.
Yeah. Lots going on in every episode. Yes. Pay attention, kids.
Yeah. All right. So to pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
The Sandman has lost his scepter and his bag of fairy dust, and he's sent a woman to hell for not loving him. Oh, and he has a baby, and his family shows up, but not in that order. And then he dies. That's what's going to happen in season 2. And there's going to be a new Sandman named Daniel, and he's going to be all white and not all black.
And he prefers to be called the Dan Man.
Yes, the Dan Man. Coraline musical scrapped. Oh well.
Yeah, good. Why? Yeah.
Coraline's good.
Yeah, it's a very forgettable movie from 15 years ago.
Oh, it's good. It's a good movie. It's a good book. It's a good movie. I don't know that it needs to be a musical because there's no music in it. And musicals suck.
I don't know if you checked in on Broadway the last 20 years.
Oh,
that ain't been stopping them.
No,
they've put music into a lot of shit that hasn't had music in it.
Yeah, I think part of the story wasn't the Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, the much maligned Broadway musical, was thought to be canceled because nobody wanted to go see it, and they're like, no, we were sold out. It was just so expensive, and then people kept hurting themselves. Like everybody, our main character has to fly around on ropes for half of the musical. And
we run out of understudies.
Yeah, lo and behold, yeah, we ran out exactly it. and the insurance was too high on it, I think is what happened. So it's not that nobody wanted to go see a Spider-Man musical. People apparently want to go see a musical of anything. They just want to see a musical. They don't even care if it's, as long as it's used to be something else, another property, a book, a movie, a TV show, a reality show.
What was it? That Rock of Ages musical proved to me like this is Broadway now. Here's a bunch of shitty 80s songs. We'll make a terrible story. Yeah. Sewing them all together. And dude, it made them fucking millions of dollars.
Yeah.
It was so popular. They made it, what was the movie? It was, what was it? Baldwin, Tom Cruise. Who else was in that movie? There was a female lead.
Wait, which movie were we talking about?
The Rock of Ages movie.
Rock of Ages movie.
Because remember that was the one where Tom Cruise sang?
I'm confusing it with the Judas Priest movie.
No, that was Mark Wahlberg.
That was Mark Wahlberg.
No, that was like fucking 10 years before.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. I forgot about that one.
Baldwin was the club owner. Who was the female lead?
And what about Vinyl? That was a musical TV show.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was musical.
It's not. It's just a lot of musical It is, but nothing diegetic. Like, people aren't breaking into song in the middle of the street. It's all, like, there were just a lot of full musical performances in it where, like, this band is supposed to be Iggy and the Stooges. Kind of sounds like them, kind of looks like them, but we don't have the license to any of that. So here's generic punk band.
Here are Ziggy and the Scrooges.
Yes.
Dickens themed punk band.
And here's Richard Ginsu with his hit Gold Cats. I don't know. I'm trying to do a David Bowie thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the live Kennedys.
Yes. The Kennedys who weren't shot.
Yes.
With their song Holiday in, not Cambodia.
Kampuchea.
Yes.
No, Vacation in Kampuchea.
Yes, vacation in Hawaii. We got the preview for the Fantastic Four movie to be released this year.
Is it that big of a deal?
Third bite at the apple.
I saw this morning, like, Good Morning America made it look like idiots were all lined up to see the preview of this thing.
Yeah.
Like, holding signs outside. Like, I'm sitting there thinking, like, hasn't every Fantastic Four movie been, what's the word? Terrible?
Yes.
Like, I know enough to know that none of those movies are anywhere near what you would call revered.
Well, not revered. The first one's boring. The second one is interesting, but because everybody's so boring from the first movie, it just taints it. And then you got the reboot where they completely misunderstood the characters and tried to make them into something different. They thought and it seems almost logical to go body horror. Because what is the story of the Fantastic Four except for pure body horror? You go into space radiates you come back stretchy, invisible, made out of rock and on
especially
fire.
If you're the Thing, that's definitely
it's all,
body horror like a motherfucker.
The Thing is the epitome of body horror, and even to the point where, I mean, he's basically starting a whole genre. Like, David Cronenberg, as a young child, read This Man, This Monster by Jack Kirby about, this was an early Fantastic Four comic that centers completely on Ben Grimm as the Thing and having to deal with the fact that he is made out of rock and can't operate in society the way he used to. He used to be he was not just a normal guy. Ben Grimm was a jock. He was a jock and a fucking astronaut. You know how much fucking real pussy that guy was getting?
Right. I don't get no pussy. There's no lady thing.
Now he has to fuck blind people and aliens.
Oh God.
His wife is Alicia Masters, who's a blind sculptor in the comics.
Well, you know.
Because comics are on the nose.
There's a lid for every pot.
Yes. I'm sorry. I love blind people. My sister's blind. I'm sure she gets it all the time.
Does her husband
Sex,
look
I
like
mean.
the Thing?
No.
Well, right. Wait, because she would know, right?
She would know.
Like his wife, because we're taught they can like feel
Alicia
with their
Masters?
hands, right?
Oh, right, yeah, her
She
hands
would
are real
know, like
sensitive.
she's married to a giant rock.
Oh, she
creature.
knows. She knows for sure.
Gotcha.
Yes. But because she's blind, she sees the inner beauty
Right.
of Ben Grimm and the person that he is, and not judging him just on how he looks.
His rocky exterior.
Yes. Inside is a, I don't know, soft, gooey magma.
Probably.
Probably.
Like, that's how rocks work.
Yeah.
That's how the earth works.
Like what's inside you? Like guts and stuff? All kinds of black gunk. What does Nelson say when he's talking to Lisa on the date? Remember when Lisa thinks that she likes Nelson, the bully, and they go on a date together?
Vaguely, yes.
And she's like trying to get him to open up. And, she's like, you know, something about like what's inside you. And he's like, the burrito? And she's like, no, you know, the stuff that's like inside of your, and he's like, I can't remember how she puts it. And he's like, oh, I never thought about it. I guess just all kinds of black stuff and guts. That's what's inside me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not a joke the way I'm saying it, but
You're getting it. Nelson isn't too deep. That's what we
no,
have.
he's skin deep. He's never thought about what's going on inside. So yeah, the Fantastic Four is a failed concept. Why do it again? Because it's an amazing concept that's just never been conceptualized fully on screen. And
Well, stop picking terrible directors.
this is the Fantastic Four are Marvel's first family, literally. When Marvel becomes Marvel Comics, it used to be Timely, and Timely had published the Human Torch, not the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. This was an android that was able to set himself on fire. It was the Human Torch, Captain America, Prince Namor the Submariner, and I think that's it. Yeah. Those were, they published 3 superheroes in the 40s as Timely. And at the same time, not at the same exact time, but during that same decade, National Comics publishes Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, then the Justice League, then Flash.
Ouch.
Right.
Just taking it just right in a row.
Right. So the classics of it doesn't even matter if a Wonder Woman movie fails because Wonder Woman is not going to be less popular as a character. Not more or less popular. It's just like that holy trinity from DC that they are holding onto those copyrights for powers everything that they do. It's kind of crazy because Wonder Woman's the least popular of the 3, right? I mean, just you look at any statistic of comics, merchandise, movies, look at any of the numbers from those and you'll see how popular Batman is, how Superman's a close second, and Wonder Woman's down at the bottom.
Steep drop.
It's a drop off of a cliff in terms of money generated by the character, but it's still money. And DC doesn't they have a licensing deal with, the Marsden estate that, what's his name? I want to say James Marsden. That's the actor.
Right.
Marsden, the creator of Wonder Woman, has long since passed, but his estate still exists and they get residuals from the sale of any Wonder Woman product. You know, they get a little piece of the movie. They get I want to say they get a piece of the comics, but I don't know what that is because the comics don't make money. Like they literally do not make money. So they don't get any piece of that. But, DC has a licensing deal with the Marsden estate that allows them to hold the copyright for Wonder Woman as long as they continue to publish a Wonder Woman comic in some form. So every month, a Wonder Woman comic has to be published. Or I shouldn't even say every month, probably every year. They have to keep, they can skip a month. If a book's late, it doesn't mean like, now we get the rights back. If they probably go more than a year of not publishing Wonder Woman, they lose the rights to that character completely, and it goes back to the Marston estate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's just kind of interesting because, you wonder why, like,
I want who negotiated that deal.
Like when you see if you look at the numbers on comic sales and you see how Wonder Woman sells, you'd think, why isn't it canceled? Why are they on issue 1,000 plus of a book that never sells? Because it doesn't need to. It never needs to make money. It's just a placeholder. It's just a way to hold on to a copyright so that they can sell birthday candles and Halloween costumes and make movies and put her in animated stuff and sell costumes and all of it. Everything that Wonder Woman's ever been on, DC is getting the majority of that. Marston Estate's getting a little bit of it. And if they stop publishing the comics, then Marston Estate gets all that money.
But I think what Marston is doing is DC has the infrastructure to keep the money train rolling.
Possibly.
So
but at this point,
it's a better deal for them to do that.
Like if they were to own the character outright like Disney does, Disney doesn't have to do anything with Mickey. And they don't. When's the last time they made a Mickey Mouse movie? When's the last time you saw a Mickey Mouse comic book?
There are actually Mickey Mouse like kids shows out now.
Cartoons for kids that nobody sees except for a certain demographic between 3 and 6 years old, and then they outgrow it, and then they move on. But that is important to them because that cements Disney as a brand in that young mind.
Yeah.
And they carry that throughout their lives. They grow up and they take their kids to Disneyland because they remember how much fun they had watching Mickey Mouse cartoons as a kid with their family. All that to say, Wonder Woman is as strong a brand as Mickey Mouse, almost. Not quite. She doesn't have her own theme park and she couldn't sustain it. But I think she's a strong enough brand that she wouldn't go anywhere. That if they stopped publishing Wonder Woman comics, nobody would fucking notice. Because 1% of the comic reading population is actively reading Wonder Woman comics. That means 0.00 nothing of the actual world is aware that they even make Wonder Woman comics. If I wasn't telling you this right now, you wouldn't know it because you wouldn't see them. And also, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you don't put good artists and good writers onto a book, nobody's going to buy it. If Scott Snyder and Jock decide they want to do Wonder Woman, now Wonder Woman's a top seller. But that's only a 12-issue limited series because those people have to go on to make Batman and Superman comics as well because those actually sell.
Yeah. They know what keeps the lights on.
Yes. So, Fantastic Four. Why are they making a Fantastic Four movie? I got off on a tangent, but the point I was making is when they decided to go all in on superheroes and become Marvel Comics, they had Timely essentially failed and Marvel was born out of the ashes of. But there were a lot of people that were involved in Timely Comics that went on to Marvel. Stanley Lieberowitz or Stanley, Jack Kirby, the guy who created Spider-Man. God, what the fuck is his name?
That's Stan Lee?
No. It'll come to me at some point when I'm driving home tonight.
Stanley.
Tell us about you and Stanley. Well, Stanley was great. He was there the whole time that I was making love to Stanley.
This is a joke purely for people in Detroit.
When Stanley was in the room, I was making love to Stanley and I was looking at Stanley and he was making love to me.
Stanley.
And then he started coming on to me. That's a whole nother
podcasting for two people. Or if you're in Detroit and you're old, you get it.
No, but you know what? People might know that outside of Detroit. They just played it over and over again. They didn't edit that. They selectively edit. It's taken out of context, but that's what he said.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Cruise was talking about fucking his wife on camera like Stanley was a third person in that menage a trois. Yeah. That's what he was talking about. That he was it felt like I was making love to Stanley. But it's the calling, like everybody else calls him Kubrick and you're on a first name basis with them. Stanley. I guess if anybody is, it's the guy who fucked his wife in front of him. You get to call me Stanley now. Can it be Stan? No. Do you see fucking Stan Kubrick on that poster?
God
it's
damn it.
Stanley.
Stanley.
And if you test me again, it's Stan Lieberitz. That's my full name. Someday I'm going to run Mexico. But
actually, he's a vice president.
Oh yeah,
Vice President Stan Liebowitz, President Claudia Scheinbaum. Of where? Mexico.
Mexico, New York, right?
Yeah,
it's a neighborhood.
Is that like a new neighborhood in New York? Is that on Long Island?
I think the Fantastic Four looks great, though. They are. I keep not making my point. They're Marvel's first family. When they decided that they were going to go all in and make superhero comics, they made the Fantastic Four.
Take this as spirit in which it is intended.
Yes.
Any of these movies.
Yeah.
Did they ever just find a hardcore group of nerds, show it to them, and be like, "What do you think?" Because I feel like
I think they did, and that's.
And those are the ones that got through? Are the ones everybody hates?
I think that's how you get Zack Snyder's Justice League you pull the fans and the fans go, we want something that looks like The Dark Knight. We want something that looks like the grim and gritty comics that we grew up with in the 80s. And that's what Zack Snyder does is fan service. And he does it well. I'm not even dissing it. I think actually his extended cut of the Justice League is the superior version. If you're going to watch don't watch the 2-hour movie that was in the theaters. It doesn't make any sense.
Wasn't there a change.org petition to make that the official version?
Yeah. And it should be, honestly. In as much as like anything should be, it's a fucking movie, so it doesn't matter whether it is or isn't. I could give a fuck ultimately if the Justice League movie exists in any form, but if it's going to exist and it's going to be available on a platform where I can stream it, I'm going to watch the full 4-hour version of it because that's where the story actually makes sense. If you cut out everything that makes it make sense, then you got the Joss Whedon version that they put in the theaters. So, that's where they go wrong is they ask the fans, what do you want to see in a comic movie? And they go, well, I don't know. What are my favorite comics? I like The Dark Knight. I like Watchmen. I like V for Vendetta. It's the same guy. Okay. Not really branching out here. Ooh, I like that Daredevil run. Oh, that was Frank Miller too. Wow, these are all like really dark. I guess that's what I like. I like really dark stuff. And they go, okay, we'll make a really dark movie. The problem with that process is people don't know what they like. They need to be surprised. And that surprise is what puts that experience from, I went in expecting it to be dark and gritty. I didn't expect it to be so fucking funny as well. It had all the characters from the comics and a fucking talking raccoon that actually was entertaining. I wasn't expecting any of that. Nobody knew what to expect from the Guardians of the Galaxy because there were no expectations for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. There are expectations for what a Batman movie should look like, what a Superman movie should look like. Nobody knew. Even those people who knew the Guardians of the Galaxy were like, what version? There's so many different ones. There's not like one set team of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They cherry-picked the best characters, gave them full personalities, gave them a story arc, each one of them, had the things that they do make sense, and people loved it. Those are the core elements of storytelling. Not what do you want to see out of a movie. So asking the fans, no, it's a fool's errand. You can't ask the fans. You ask the fans afterwards what they thought and see if you get it right. You ask the fans beforehand, and now you just got them poisoning your brain about what you should be doing.
You sound like one of those guys. People don't know what they want until you tell them.
Yes, they don't. They're kids. It's another Simpsons reference when they're like, that's why you'll always be dumb. When they're testing the Itchy and Scratchy. And they've got the two-way, the one-way mirror. And the kids are all in the room and they're turning the dial to like, I like this and I like that. I don't like that. And they're all over the place. They're like, yeah, I want it to be this. I want it to be fresh and new. I want it to be familiar and comfortable. You can't have it both ways, right? And so finally the producer drops the two-way mirror and he's like talking directly to the kids and he's like, you don't know what you want. That's why you're kids. And Ralph starts crying and just turns his dial to bad. He says, I don't like it. Because he thinks he's still watching the TV. So I don't know. We got a few months until that Fantastic Four movie comes out, but I guarantee you, I will wait in line to watch it. If I have to. I am so looking forward to that thing. And what a great cast.
I fear you won't be waiting in line.
I won't be waiting. I'll just be
watch a Fantastic Four.
Making sure that I grab my tickets on the app a couple days
I feel
before.
in this day and age, yeah. What, you wait in line for a movie? Is your cell phone broken?
Actually, if I want to see it at a time that's reasonable and I want to see it on an IMAX screen, I'm probably going to have to buy my tickets at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance.
I feel the last time I actually bought a hard ticket was the 2018 Star Wars movie. After that, it's all been on my phone. Yeah.
I went and saw Companion. We'll wrap up real quick, but I went to the theater this weekend and saw Companion with Jack Quaid and, the guy who plays Guillermo on What We Do in the Shadows.
See, I don't know, you say Guillermo, I think of Jimmy Kimmel's sidekick.
Yeah. That movie was great. You know who Jack Quaid is? He's Huey in The Boys. He's the one normal dude in the team of crazy superheroes. Yeah. I didn't know if you saw a preview or something.
You show me a picture. I might know. Wait, hold on.
I don't know. Take Jesse Eisenberg and stretch him out like silly putty and then punch him in the nose.
Okay. This dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was really good in it. That movie it's one of those movies where it's kind of based on a twist. So you can't really say anything about it. In the preview, they only had the one preview for it ever. And it doesn't give anything away as far as other than this is clearly a fucked up relationship where this man appears to have complete power over his girlfriend. To the point where she's willing to stick her hand into a flame and burn herself at his command. Right? So you're thinking some Stepford wife shit. She's totally brainwashed. It's actually I was going to say it's not a murder mystery. Murder happens in it, but it's more like murder and then see if we can get away with it movie. But yeah, just very clever. Like I said, there's not much I can say about it except for the cast is great. It's an hour and a half long. It's not a big investment.
Oh, it's an easy watch.
It's a super easy watch. It's not the type of twist where you're like, oh, I got to think about oh, okay, so he was that person all along, and so, well, what does that make him?
Yeah, I hate when I gotta fucking take notes.
Right. It's not like a spy thriller where they reveal that he's this person all along, and you're like, so what does that mean? I gotta go back and watch the last hour of the movie and figure out who this guy actually is? It's the perfect twist in the way that in my idea, a perfect twist is obvious, right? Something in this movie that you're watching for the last half hour has not made any sense. And I can't quite put my finger on it. But these people aren't acting normal, or they're not reacting in normal ways to the environment. Something is off. This relationship isn't right. And then that thing happens and you're like, okay, now it makes sense. Everything that, all these questions that I had for the last half hour have snapped into place. And now I understand the story fully. That's the type of twist it is.
There you go.
It's not one that's adding in another complex layer. It's revealing.
It's not like the end of Inception. I fucking hate.
It's not.
I know it is I know it is universally loved. I fucking hate the end of that movie.
Oh, like Inception is fun.
Your story.
I like the end of Inception quite a bit. I like the movie quite a bit. It's all kind of vibes though. You know, there's no real I'm not watching it because I really feel for Leonardo DiCaprio or his dead ex-wife or any of the people flying around in the van. I just, like, I think that it's one of the rare movies where it really is just about the story structure. And that's what I appreciate the most about it. Interstellar is similar, but is a 10 out of 10 because everybody that is acting in that movie is perfect. And I actually care about them. I actually care about, like, that scene on the planet, on the gravity planet where they lose 35 years or something like that for being stuck on the planet for an hour is devastating because of what it means to that character. That guy went on a quick mission. We'll get down there, grab the test samples and get back up, and we'll lose a couple years, but it'll be worth it. And instead, he is now as old as his daughter. Imagine that. Imagine being a father and not through being absent, through circumstances beyond your control, you are out of your kid's life for their entire life. That's fucking devastating.
Yeah.
And to have it happen so easily for in the course of an hour for a whole lifetime to slip away that way, it gives me chills just thinking about it.
However, though, time travel? Huh?
Time travel. Yeah. Well, he does time travel, right? He goes back. He's the one pushing the books off the shelf.
I've seen the movie.
Okay. So he goes into the black hole at the end of it, right? He gets stuck and they figure, well, we might have a chance of getting you back before time like expires on Earth and everybody that you ever knew was gone. But we'd have to like basically slingshot you through this black hole. And when he does that, he gets sucked inside and he experiences 5-dimensional space flattened into a 3-dimensional world, meaning that the aliens who are able to perceive and control 5 dimensions fold 2 of those dimensions into another to create a faux 3-dimensional world so he can at least perceive reality for what it appears to be. And when he's in that black hole, that's when he sees his daughter's room, right? It's a cyclical movie. He goes into space because of a sign from his daughter's room. The books on the wall start falling. And they fall in a pattern that they decode as a location. And that location is the hidden place where NASA went underground when the whole world thought that NASA dissolved. They went underground and continued to develop ways to get off planet. And he ends up being the one guy that they're looking for to pilot this crazy experimental ship through a black hole, through a wormhole, I should say, to get to another galaxy to look for another planet to live on. So I don't follow.
I'm already out, dude. Like
he sent himself.
Too many things to follow.
He sent himself, right? When he was in the black hole, he's the one who gave the signal for the coordinates.
Like, hey, come get me?
No, like, you gotta go.
Oh.
It's
like the sign is him just telling him he's gotta go?
Yeah.
Oh, my brain.
You gotta leave your daughter.
My brain hurts.
Your daughter's like 8 years old. and you got to go out into space. Who knows if you'll ever come back, and you got to say goodbye to her. And that was like, who's going to tell you to do that except for yourself?
Damn.
And it's code for pride, right? Mm-hmm. It's code for the things that we tell ourselves in order to do the things that we know we shouldn't do, but we feel we must. When a father enlists with a family at home and decides to spend 2 years in a desert and possibly die over there, what makes a man make that decision other than himself telling himself that this is what he must do?
Right.
Nobody else can convince him of that. You have to be convinced yourself that you're doing the right thing. Otherwise, why would you leave your family and risk your life? And you probably have no other option, but you have to tell yourself. So that's essential. That's the metaphor that I always took away from that movie, was that like, you have to be the one to tell yourself, you have to convince yourself that you are so great and that you are the person that's needed for this mission. Because why else would you abandon your family? Why else would you do things that would possibly destroy the thing that you claim to love?
So it's about how ego can destroy your life.
Yes, it is 100% about ego. Cause they don't save shit.
Oh.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Nobody gets saved. So anyway, watch Interstellar. It's a great movie. I went and saw it in IMAX recently and it was fantastic.
Well, it sounds like they at least finished the story.
They do finish it.
And you got into something real quick. You got into something exactly with Interstellar. I don't care about those characters. I care about the story finish. That's really my beef with the movie. Didn't finish the story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Tenet's the same way, right? Tenet is circular.
Yeah, it sounds like me and Christopher Nolan just wouldn't get along.
Yeah.
I'd just be upset at the end of all of his movies.
Yep.
Hey, but don't be upset at the end of this podcast.
But Christopher Nolan likes structure as art. Like story structure is art, right? Cause like Inception starts on the outside and spirals in and in and in and in until it gets to a point in the center. Interstellar eats its own tail. I want to say that Tenet does the same, but it almost is linear where it goes one way and then comes back and stops at the midpoint. And, Oppenheimer is a mountain. It goes up to a peak and then goes down the other side. Everything's downhill from the last half of that movie. It's all Senate hearings and why did you do this and self-doubt. And leading up to it, it's all, we must do this. We do it for our country. And,
Hey, it was a double period on the end of a sentence. I'll tell you that one.
Yes. Full stop.
We went, hey, we did it twice. Do we have to do it a third time? And they went, no, you do not. Point made.
Yes. Did you not hear me the first two times?
Yes. Like, it wasn't Tokyo, but there was a third city planned that never, they were like, no, you don't, no, nope. Okay, we got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Bitches got two black eyes.
Hey, Japan got froggy. We had to let them know. We had to let them know.
You could have had one.
You came up in here.
That's horrible.
We were just chilling. You just came up in here. Came up into our house.
That's right.
Fucking got loud in our living room and shit. Drug us into your shit. And then finally we had enough. After like 5 years, we were like, all right, enough of this shit.
Now we're going to have to tariff the fuck out of them, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I ordered a, Ableton makes like a kind of groove box thing.
Get your Temu stuff now, kids.
Yeah. It's made in Germany, has a chip in it. I was like, that price is going up. I better grab that now.
Yeah. But hey, grab this podcast now. Well, you already have if you're at this point.
Yeah, get it before the tariff podcasts and you'll have to pay twice nothing.
Right. I do always wonder how long the clock is running on like Apple Podcasts being like free or any way to listen to podcasts being free.
Well, their newest thing is the Apple Invites, which I'm like, okay.
In the Patreon?
No, it's just a thing you can do, but I'm sure it costs money. I mean, the same way you set up an event on Facebook, you can now do that with Apple to share, I don't know, I imagine you can share it outside of just the iPhone environment.
It's another way to segment us from the Android population.
I think so, yeah.
Good.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to his party. He sent me a green bubble invite.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah. Send me blue bubble invites or I ain't coming.
Yeah, blue bubble invites only.
Yes.
Anyway, what?
Blue bubble party.
Yeah, way off track. That's Weezer420 on social media, ChristopherMedia.net. It's got all of the shows, every single one of them. It's also got a donate button, PayPal, and all that.
You can click
stuff.
on all of it.
Yeah. And if you can also rate and review wherever you listen. Could I put rate and review on ours? But then again,
5 stars.
Yeah, 5 stars. Just 5 stars. Please, thank you. Just helps other people find
Click
the
on
show.
5 stars, put a review in that says 5 stars. Done.
Yeah, just click 5 stars, type 5 stars.
Your review can be, I gave this podcast 5 stars because I think it deserves 5 stars.
People say now 10 out of 10. 5
Yes.
stars. Whatever, rate, review, however you
Would
do
play
it.
again.
Yes. Would listen in the future. So, yeah, we'll see you in the future when you're listening. And stay high.
Stay high.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.